What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Joe Johnson, aka Black Nito, aka Bushido Brown, aka Known Thug, host of Tabletop Jocks, and yeah, just actor, writer, comedian, just doing out here in LA doing the thing. You know what I mean?
I gotta say, I already effed up the beginning of this interview. I forgot to turn my microphone on while I was doing that whole intro spiel. I suck. Whatever. All right, I'm gonna start over. Hello, everyone. Welcome to What's Up on the EDH Rec Twitch stream. This is a weekly AMA interview style show where we bring on well-known people in the Magic the Gathering community and ask them lots of questions. This is Joseph Johnson. Joseph, you already introduced yourself, so we're gonna get right to the big question. The first question of the night, the burning question that's on everybody's minds: how the hell are you?
I am doing splendid. Honestly, I'm doing splendid. How are you doing?
I'm doing
I always, I
good.
always, I always go back. I always go back at it because we care about each other. We care about each other. We just
Absolutely.
met. But no, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. The cookout is coming up June 13th and 14th. All the VIP tickets are sold out. I started doing the cookout last year publicly, and then 2 years before that as a so I kind of look at I kind of looked at the community as like, I really wish I could see more POC and Black representation in the community. And I was like, you know what? Why don't I just be the change that I want to see? And so I started on Juneteenth. I started the cookout, started doing episodes, started featuring, Black content creators that were in the game that I felt like people needed to know who they were. And I feel like that was kind of more of a resume. Like now no one has an excuse to be like, oh, well, I don't know any Black content creators. No, 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 no. You know them. They're right here. They're at the cookout doing the thing. So yeah, so I had a great time, you know, feeding folks, and it grew into a bigger thing. It started it off in a backyard with about maybe like 20, 30 people, and grew into like 150 people. So that was really cool. So
Gotta get a
I'm
bigger
I'm
backyard.
hoping, yeah, I gotta get a bigger backyard. I'm hoping to expand it to, my goal is to get it to like Comic-Con status. So like have it be that big, or
Yeah.
maybe I don't know, maybe keep it at a set number, maybe keep it at like 500 or whatever. But like the more the merrier, Like I want to keep bringing people in every time I go to Magic Cons. I see more people. This last Chicago, I ran into so many people. They were like, "Hey, you got me into Magic. You inspired me." I'm like, "What?" But that's the change that I want to see. So it started to come to fruition.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love to see it. Um, Thank you so much for everything you do in the community and especially for being here tonight on What's Up. We're very excited to have you on the show. Britnick94 rating with a party of four people. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Friends in chat, this is an AMA, so we gotta get all those questions going for Joseph here. So go ahead and start dropping those questions into chat. It'll help me out a lot if you tag EDHRecCast so that I can just see it highlighted in the chat window there. It'll be a little bit easier for me to find. We're going to start off with a few of my own excellent questions for Joseph, but get those questions going while we wait here. Start things off. I like to always have my guests give us their origin story. Joseph, tell us how you got into Magic and then subsequently into Magic content creation.
Wow. Okay. That's kind of a weighted question because I got into Magic during a summer. Um, I was about to move out to California, and a buddy of mine was like, we were working at this weird kind of like Disney-esque place that was also like airplane related. It was called the Air Zoo. It was weird.
Uh-huh.
But we had to go out as actors. We had to go out as aviators, like from the past. And I played a Tuskegee Airman called Ben Davis. who
Nice.
you can look up. He's real. And I went around and gathered people together and had like a 30-minute monologue. And then that was kind of it. You know what I mean? Like we just kind of like hung out and like had this crowd. And then we had all this downtime. And so during the downtime, it was like, all right, so what do we do? And my buddy was like, you want to learn Magic the Gathering? And I'm like, I don't know what that is. Is it witchcraft? He was like, kind of. And so he taught all of us how, like all the people at the cast, how to play. And at the time, I think it was Ravnica Return that was out. And so I was like, okay, sure, yeah, let me figure it out. So we all went and bought like some booster boxes, and like we went in. We were like, yo, let's like if we're gonna go, we're gonna go.
Back when
And so
booster
I went
boxes were affordable, right?
right, right. So we all went, got booster boxes. We were like just passing around cards based on what they looked like. We didn't look up like prices. We were just like, oh, that looks cool. Let me get that. Let me trade that for that because that looks cooler. I'll make a deck that has a bunch of like guys that look like this or whatever. We didn't care,
Yeah.
and so I went to my next job. I worked like three jobs, whatever. So I went to my next job and I was talking about this process, and some guy comes up and he's like, "Hey, I heard you talking about Magic the Gathering." I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I just learned how to play." He was like, "Hey, I'm trying to get out of the game. Do you want my cards?" And I was like, "Oh, I mean, I could like buy your cards." And he was like, "Oh no, 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 no. I just want to give them away because I already got rid of all the bulk and or all the good stuff. I only
Right.
have bulk left." And so I met up with this guy and I told my friend that taught me how to play. I was like, "Hey, can you come, meet up with me?" He gave me five, no, five cases like full of like cards, and I'm like, I have no idea what these are.
Uh huh.
We just like, all right, look cool. Let's split it up. Let's go through them. But he had like fetch lands, dual lands, Caracas, um,
In his bulk?
like in his bulk.
Oh my
I'm like,
god.
what did he sell? It was insane, and I had no idea what it was. I was just like, I let another friend go through stuff when I moved here, and they were just like, "Yeah, you have a like in like a stack of that big." He was like, "Yeah, you got like 10 grand worth of cards right here." I was like, "Okay, that's nuts." So
Uh-huh.
I went to local game store. I met a bunch of people, started playing Commander, and during the pandemic was when I really kind of got into content creating because I was like, well, I'm here and doing nothing, and I got my ring light, so I'm bored. Let's do some stuff.
Hmm.
And I started the TikTok and started doing that. And then I got asked by a friend to come on to Command Zone, and I had no idea what it was. I was like, "What? Sure, YouTube channel, I'll do it. Whatever." I had no idea. I was very unaware of like just the
That
whole
must have been a
scene and
big
everything.
surprise for you showing up that day and seeing there's like a whole studio and everything.
Yeah, I had no idea it was going to be that crazy. I was like, "Oh, y'all got it together." But I went in. I just, I was like, I'm gonna have a lot of fun. I picked a deck out that was coming out. It was Vish Call, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a little bit called Vish Call Me Maybe. Uh, and I had like a little song with it and everything, like backed up because I was just like, I'm just gonna turn this into a thing. Um, and I mean, I had a blast meeting Jimmy and Josh, and I think was he? No, Ashlyn was on the episode as well, Ashlyn Rose, and we just had a good time, and you know that to me felt so positive after going to the YouTube comments and like reading everyone was having a good time, and I was like, oh my god, maybe I should start doing this. This is kind of cool. Um, and so fast forward to 2022, I started Tabletop Jocks, and my vision for that was kind of similar to what we talked about earlier. Was like being being the the voice that you want to see out in content creating. Because I didn't really see a lot of people that were, POC or black representation. So I was like, okay, how do I put that or how do I connect with more people? And I was like, well, sometimes you just gotta like take the bull by the horns and just do it. And so that's what I did. I was like, okay, well, I want to create a platform where I'm putting that energy out there. And this year specifically, I gave myself a challenge to write every single day. So I'm writing a sketch and filming myself, putting myself on camera, and it is hard.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It is a challenge, but we're in the end of April almost, and it's been consistently every single day. Just do it, do it, do it. Because if you want to do something, you're gonna train to do something. You got to do it. You got to put in that 10,000 hours. Um, but yeah, it's fun, and I enjoy it a lot. I think, going to MagicCon Chicago, I've been finding a lot of people who were, like-minded and were like, "Oh, I got into Magic because I saw your face or I saw, your content or I saw X, Y, and Z." And I'm like, that's so humbling to me because like
Hmm.
I'm literally just out here just having a good time. I'm just like I'm chilling. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
so that's such a cool moment connecting with people and and seeing their stories and seeing like what their motivations to get into magic. And it's like I'm just out here just big chilling. I'm just out here just like trying to hang out, just trying to like, you know what I mean? Like if we connect at a con or something like that, we'll go grab a drink, we'll go kick it. That's really what it's about, the
Hmm.
gathering, literally.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very cool. Um, big, big Commander news today.
Yeah.
We had five
Wow.
cards unbanned in Commander today. Um, I don't remember what they are, but I bet you do. Are you
Yes.
are you excited about these cards being unbanned? Do you have like deck plans for these cards? Any of them that you're gonna get them in your decks?
Yes. Braids, Cabal Minion for sure. I am going to put her in my Taste of Karlov deck and maybe build around her. Because, like, I feel like if people have, like, a Turgid deck or a deck that they want people to sacrifice, this is the perfect card. Um, like, I've been hearing the murmurings about, like, oh man, turn one, braids is so so crazy. But I'm like, yeah, but then it goes back around to the person who played it, and then if you like, you know, all right, on the trigger on the stack, I get rid of braids, and then you still have to or sacrifice a thing. So it's like, yeah, maybe turn one isn't that great, but I get it. It can be insane if you're like Bitter Blossom into braids into something else that like produces um tokens or whatnot. I, sure, that can be nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Other cards, I'm thinking like Panoptic Mirror. I get that can go infinite with extra turns and
Yeah.
whatnot. Uh, Coalition Victory. I'm very happy that got you know put into the mix. I never thought that card was like too busted. I was like, yeah, if you're playing five colors, you pay 8 mana, and you have the conditions. Yeah, you should win the game. And somebody came in the comments, and I put out a video earlier, and they were like, oh, well, you can win on like technically on turn 3 or turn 4. And I'm like, yeah, but if you get that much out by turn 3 or turn 4, you deserve to win. Let's go to the next game.
Yeah.
Like you got us. Gifts Ungiven. I figured it's like, you know, not that crazy of a card. I get it. It's very good in certain like CDH. It's
Yeah.
gonna like go crazy. Um, but I feel like casually, I don't think it's that busted. And then Sway of the Stars, I think it's like very specific decks. Again, if you're paying 10 mana to, to play, this card and you win, then good on you. Like 8 to 10 mana spent and you win the game. Hey, You got it.
Yeah, of the cards that got unbanned today, Coalition Victory is definitely the only one that I would be like, oh, I want to play that now.
Mm,
Everything else is
mm,
kind of like
mm.
meh. But
Yeah.
I love alternate win cons, so yeah, Coalition Victory is certainly up my alley. How about cards that didn't get unbanned that you're sad about? Anything you were hoping for?
You know, I have so many friends that were getting into the game, into Commander specifically, and they were like, "Oh man, I built this Golos deck," and they're like, "I was hoping the Golos got unbanned, so I could like play my Golos deck and not
Yeah,
feel bad." Because it's like you can rule zero and like play whatever like with your friends, but when you go to the LGS, that's a whole different feeling because like you might run into people who you don't know, and you're like, "Hey, I have this Golos deck. I really want to play it," and then someone's like, "Well, it's banned." It's like, yeah, but it's not that bad. You know what I mean? So I was hoping the Golos got, unbanned. I was
yeah.
hoping that Primetime got unbanned. I feel like Primetime is a good card, but like I just feel like it's not that crazy.
It's pretty bad.
Um,
I never
it's
saw it
pretty
in
bad.
Commander. It was before my time, but I
Uh,
I know it's would be
I mean,
bad news.
it can get out of hand, especially if you got haste. It's like, oh, I got 4 lands for a 6 mana, or reanimate or a sneak attack, whatever. I wanted to abuse it. Uh,
Yeah, with as big as Bant Blink decks have gotten, though, I feel like that's just
that's true.
asking for trouble.
Yeah, it's almost like Paradox Engine. Like I knew it wasn't gonna get banned, but I was like hoping that maybe
Yeah,
Paradox Engine would get banned. Um, what else? Uh, I mean, of course, we're always thinking like Jewel Lotus, J Lo. If it's hard for people to like run like big body commanders or they're like 6+ mana, and then as soon as you play them, you get board wiped or you get countered,
mhm.
or you get your commander removed. And that's hard, especially for newer players coming in. Um, I think Jewel Lotus kind of like even the playing field a little bit because it was like, okay, I got 3 mana going into my commander, my big body commander, and I don't feel as bad
Mhm.
if it gets countered or whatever because it's you know boom, it's free. Um, Anything else? I was thinking would get unbanned. I mean, okay, quite a skip. I personally believe that there should be a another bracket. There
Uh-huh.
should be like a bracket, like a tier 6, if you will. And I want there to just like, hey, put all those banned cards there or whatever, tier 10. I don't care, whatever, just tier it up. And like put those specific cards in there. Maybe take out like Power 9. And that way when you're sitting at tables and you're talking to people, you can be like, hey, I got a tier 11. And if people are like, yo, that's way out of my league. I'm over here rocking a precon.
Mhm.
That means we know we're not compatible. You know what I mean? Like that means we are not vibing on the same wavelength as far as commander goes, and I can go seek out someone who wants that smoke, as opposed to sitting down at a table going, "Hey, I got a tier of whatever," and they go, "Oh, I got a precon or a tier, or deck 3 or whatever." That's just
Yeah, I gotta believe that the MTG finance people would lose their damn minds if there was suddenly a part of EDH that allowed almost everything to be played. That would be quite a month in MTG finance, let me tell you.
yeah, yeah,
I was sad about Biorhythm. I've always wanted to play Biorhythm
yeah.
at least once, but
You got Shaman of Forgotten Ways.
yeah, it's not
Technically,
the same thing.
it's
It's
not
not
the
the
same. It's
same
not the same.
thing. No.
But yeah, I mean, I thought that card wasn't that card's not that great, especially if you're spending that much mana. I get it, green, whatever you can ramp up, but like I don't know. I usually use like the decks that I have Shaman of Forgotten Ways in. I usually end up using like, oh, okay, before combat, I'll pay X mana, Shaman of Forgotten Ways. Now I have only this much damage to be dealt out,
Hmm.
as opposed to like, oh, I just win off of having more
Yeah.
life or whatever, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, but I still want to try it at least once.
Hmm.
So how do you feel about brackets in general? Do you think do you think the system is working from what you've seen?
I mean, it's a start. It's a great start. You know, I think that it's a good platform to give talking points to. Like, okay, cool. I have a this. I have a bracket this. Um, it's not perfect. Nothing's ever perfect, and also, like I said, little tweaks here and there, and like adding the game changers in it, in the system. I think it's going to open the conversation because Commander as core is a casual format, and it's supposed to be a fun time,
Hmm.
especially with with people who are showing up to local game stores. With your friends, it's a little bit different. I know with my friend group, we go hard. We play to the the craziness.
Hmm.
But if you're just meeting people for the first time and you want to get to experience the gathering, and get to know people and get to vibe out and get to, chill, it's a great talking point to get things rolling. Um, and with that being said, I always encourage people to, talk out your deck, give put your deck list on a Moxfield or Archidect or whatever platform you prefer, and share your deck list with everyone you're going to play with, just so there's no surprises.
Yeah.
I'm very transparent in talking about my deck a lot and making sure that people know what they're getting into or what they're signing up for, so that if someone's like, "Oh, I don't want to play against land destruction," or I'd rather not play against, my deck is actually like if you play life gain like Aloro or something like that, then I my deck just can't keep up, and so I'd rather play against someone who's like, "Oh, well, I'd rather play against that deck than this deck." Okay, cool. Let's switch it up. And having that conversation so we can all make sure that we're having a good time. Because at the end of the day, there's no prizes won. There's no, there's nothing at stake. We're not putting ante on the line, unless it's CDH, which is a whole different thing. And okay, you're supposed to try to go for the win, and I feel like that's more of a everyone's on the same page. Everyone gets it,
Hmm.
and everything else in between is kind of like kind of muddy. Because even if you say, "Hey, I showed up with a precon," but then someone else gonna be like, "Well, I showed up with a modified precon." It's like, what does that mean? And so I
Yeah.
think people need to understand that it can mean a plethora of things. Also too, people have gone through a lot of different situations and experiences. Some people have been playing for years. Some people have been playing for months. Especially with the universes beyond drawing so many people into the game, and with Final Fantasy about to come out, and with Spider-Man and with Avatar about to come out, it's going to draw in so much people or so many people from all different walks of life, and it's going to be incredible. We're going to see an influx of Magic the Gathering users. I mean, it happened with Lord of the Rings.
Hmm.
It happened with a lot of the other universes beyond, and I think it's going to continue to keep happening over and over again. It's going to keep building up, and we're going to keep gathering people into this game as we expand, and I'm here for it,
Yep.
and I love it.
We're gonna get back to some. I got some Universes Beyond questions coming up for you a little bit later. For right now, I got one more question for you, and then I'm gonna hand it over to chat. People in chat, don't forget this is an AMA, so start putting your questions in there, and it'll help me out if you tag EDHRECast so I can see them a little bit easier. Um, Joseph, you've had a lot of guests on your Tabletop Jocks show. Any guests that you can think of that you haven't had yet that you just really want to have on there, but you just haven't been able to make it work? Besides me,
Yes,
of course.
yes. Oh, you took it right out my. All right, bet. So we're gonna get EDH Rec, the whole cast on Tabletop Jocks eventually.
Hell yeah.
So whenever y'all are ready, we gonna get it in. But I can think of uh, at least a few guests that I really, really, really want to vibe with. Um, uh, Noah Lyles he was a Olympic athlete.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he was like talking about Pokemon, talking about Magic, and I was like, oh, That would be you'd be perfect. Literally tabletop jocks. Like, come on now. That would be a great pod to have. Um, I'd love to get uh, Keegan Michael Keys and Jordan Peele.
Do they both play?
They they tweeted out. I think it was like a 2016 tweet that they play Magic the Gathering, and I was like, "Yo, I would love to have y'all on the show."
Right.
And I like I was did the shoot my shot thing.
That'd be the
Heard
best pod
nothing,
ever.
obviously. Oh my God, that would be so funny. No one would be able to get through anything. Like we'd just be cracking jokes the whole time.
It'd be chaos. Yeah. Everybody'd forget whose turn it was, and
Right,
yeah.
right. I would love to get Megan the Stallion. I don't know if she plays, but I know she's a huge nerd and she loves anime. I think that she would be a great guest on the show. She'd be a great fit. And that pod right there, just those three, would be amazing. Um, Let me think. One more. Eric Andre. I don't
Okay.
even know if he plays. Eric Andre is like my energy. Like it would be insane. It would we would start like pranks would be pulled during the filming of TTJ. We'd be like, what is going on? So yeah, that would be like the ideal pod for me if I had to reach out.
You know, I'm thinking about the Key and Peele sketch where they're doing the football player names, and
Mm.
I'm just thinking, hey, they could do that with Magic cards, right?
Oh yeah. I actually did a sketch. I did a TikTok on that
Okay.
for as Asma Rana whatever.
Yeah, I know
Like I did
exactly what
so
you're talking about.
I was like, okay, this is exactly like I was like, okay, cool. I did them, and then I forget what I said, but I remember writing it down. I was like, oh, this has to go.
Yeah. God, I love those guys. Been watching them on YouTube a lot lately.
Nice. I
Wish
mean,
that show could come
love it.
back, but
They're in
Peele's a little
separate.
busy with his horror movies, and
Yep,
oh well.
they're in
Let's
separate
get
separate,
to
separate
chat.
worlds.
We got
Yeah.
questions from chat here.
All right. Cool.
Don't
Cool.
forget
Cool.
chat. Put your questions in there, and we'll get to them. And before I forget, Crab Baskets, thank you so much for the sub, buddy. We appreciate you so much. Let's see. We'll start with Jay Sherwood. Says, "Are there magic-themed recipes at Commander Cookout? If yes, what is your favorite?"
Commander. Oh, that's interesting to bring up. That's kind of cool. I have not had that come up yet, but that would be an interesting like thing to bring into the cookout. Because you'd have like, okay, this is the themed this like Chef Guillaume made this recipe this year, and yeah, that'd be really cool. I haven't even really thought of that.
Let's see. George Adolio says, "Since you are a huge Marvel fan, what's your opinion of the whole MCU universe in terms of movies and series?" Well, how long do you got to answer that
Yeah, wow.
question?
um I love it. I want to be a part of it. That's like my life goal. I mean, I grew up a huge X-Men fan,
Yep.
and I'm really really excited to see what they did with X-Men 97. I don't know if everyone saw that, but like that transcended like so much. Like the years of reading comic books and then putting it into a screen, and the voice acting and the trauma that episode 5, if you haven't seen it, watch episode 5. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
But I can't think of the last time I wept watching a cartoon, and how powerful
Mm-hmm.
those emotions like are it, and just and seeing Magneto do his thing. I mean, come on
Of course. Yeah.
now. Man,
Yeah.
like that.
Remember it. That was the name of that episode. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
But I think
such a
the
good one.
MCU, I think the MCU is great. I'm more of a fan I'm very much a cat. I don't say casual fan, but like I'm a casual fan. Like I'll go see whatever. I'll watch. I mean, Thor: Love and Thunder. I was like, oh, this is like a rom com. You know what I mean? Like everyone was like, oh man, it's so bad. I'm like, what's bad about it? It was, like, I don't know, it was a rom com. You know, so like that's kind of how I kind of look at everything with like, oh, these are characters that I want to see and I want to see more of it. So keep it coming.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, so I'm really
I Thor: Love and Thunder, I like a lot more than most people do.
mhm,
Um, I never had a problem with it. I think some of the effects were a little cheesy, but for me, this. It was Gore's story, and I think that
mm,
resonated so much for me because I am a parent,
mhm,
and
mhm,
that really
mhm.
hit a little bit harder for me.
Yeah,
The thought of losing your child and what that could do to you.
yeah,
So I think that resonated with me a little bit more than maybe a lot of people, but
yeah. I thought they wasted a great villain. I thought he could have been in a different thing, which they also did with Ultron. But like just like you said, like you had that tie to that movie,
mhm.
and I don't think everything has to be about everyone. People can like a thing and then go, you know what? Maybe that wasn't for me. Essentially, similar to Universe Beyond. That's not for me. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move past it. Doesn't have to even be. I don't have to be outraged. I don't have to be, angry about this thing coming out. It's like you don't own this IP. They can just do whatever they want. But I guess with the current, like it's most recent MCU Daredevil, Born Again, I haven't seen an MCU show that locked in
Mhm.
that I have been so much of a fan of. I loved that series. The first season, 10 out of 10. I just I love the beats, I love the character work, I love the interactions, I love the story driven modes. Like it even gave us like just like a courtroom scene, which is like he's in a courtroom doing his thing. It's almost like watching, the Robert Pattinson Batman doing detective work. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, this is what he does. It's DC Comics, Detective Comics. Like he's a detective. That's fucking cool. Oh, sorry. All right, we got the one out.
You're
We got the one
good.
out.
You're good.
That's cool. Like I I love seeing the characters and the elements and Matt Murdock struggling and watch the series. I'm not going to give any spoilers. Just watch it. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's well acted.
Mhm.
Charlie Cox is one of my favorite actors. I want to work with him so bad. Um, and yeah, it was. Whew, I'm just like losing my breath, like talking about it. Like it was that good. Like it's wow.
Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio he
Mm,
absolutely owns the role of Kingpin. And I
hmm
was really surprised because I heard like a little bit of an interview with him recently, and his voice is so soft. Like his real voice
Yeah,
sounds nothing
yeah.
like his Kingpin voice. I'm like, oh my
hmm
god, how much damage is this guy doing to his vocal cords to perform this role?
It's all from the diaphragm. It's all from the
It's
diaphragm. That's
crazy.
that's a that's a that's a trained that's a trained actor.
Yeah,
Like you can put on any voice. Like it's almost like the same thing when you get from like a metal band.
yeah.
Like when they have to do all that screaming, it's all from the diaphragm.
Hmm.
How else would they be able to perform night after night going on tour doing that kind of screamo thing? And like yeah, sometimes they don't do it right and they have to take weeks off, but like it's all like through training and like people don't understand like artists have to go through so much of that training to get to that point where they go, all right, cool, I'm gonna hone in and dive into that specific thing. So yeah,
Um, so
I hope I answered the question.
if you were to be cast in the MCU, what would be your dream role?
Cyclops, Scott Summers.
Cyclops. And
Yeah,
what makes you pick that?
I think that he stands for so much of what I believe in as far as like allowing himself to be the leader when he doesn't want to be, but he knows he has to be,
Hmm.
and making sure that his whole team gets in and gets out. And also, he does not he stands on business. He does not mess with the Avengers. He is not about that life. He's like, yo, Captain America, Iron Man, y'all out here like getting all these accolades and all this fame while we're here doing the dirty work. He's like, I'm here to like stand on business. And the Scott Summers of like the last decade has been the my favorite. Like I love Scott Summers. Like he just he will put his foot down and say it with his chest. And he's got some issues with like Emma Frost and White Queen.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
he's got his issues, but like who doesn't? But I really would love to like dive in, or I would love to see like work with someone like I would. My fan cast would be John Boyega as Scott if I didn't get that. Also would love to play Bobby Drake.
Okay.
I know that he is technically been written LGBTQ,
Hmm.
so I would not want to disrespect that. So that's why it wasn't my first choice. Because I, as a cis white male or cis black male, I'm like, yeah, I can't play that and be on that level if people are like, you know what I mean? Like I can play it, but I don't know if people will be comfortable. And that's the thing too, is like I will play any role as an actor. I will dive in any role. I will do all the things. But if people weren't like not comfortable with being in that role, I totally understand. But it would be so fun.
Kind of along those same lines, there's been a lot of people who, like fan casted Magneto as
Mhm,
a black person in,
mhm.
today's world. Do
Yeah.
you have any issues with him being changed to being a black person instead of being a Jewish person? Obviously, we're getting to
No,
the point of time where he can't possibly have been in World War II anymore because there's there's no
right.
actors alive anymore who could like play that age and that
Yeah.
character. But how do you feel about that?
I think it'll be great. I think since we're dealing with the multiverse, we can bring in a Magneto that lived in a different timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So like say for instance, they lived during like the slave trade and maybe that Magneto stopped the slave trade. Maybe they sparked their, you know, their mutant powers and said, "No, I'm taking away these chains. I'm getting rid of this. I'm sending this boat back over to America, and I'm going to empower my people, and we're going to create this thing. Maybe links up with, Wakanda, and kind of like fuses with vibranium with his suit, and like you know what I mean. Like there's just so many little things that could transpire that if people just expand their mind and go, oh, and then maybe if he stops that, maybe that you know, maybe that forwards time. Maybe that like the Black Panther revolution that happened in America, maybe that escalates, and maybe because the slave trade is kind of like, oh, it's null and void. So like maybe it's just a different timeline. So I definitely could see that happening with the right writing and the right timing. I feel like all of that could happen.
Absolutely, excellent. Um, Inevitably, we're probably going to get a Magneto magic card. What colors do you think it should be?
Everything but green.
Okay, so it's Brea colors.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I can see him because here's the thing: Magneto is a leader, and I think that draws into the white. He also has his dark past, so and he's a little bit selfish, with his goals and ambitions. So he's willing to sacrifice a little bit. That's the black. I think the red is his passion and his goals, and he's very hyper focused on his goals and his dreams, creating the brotherhood. And I think that the blue comes from his manipulation of his powers.
Hmm.
I think he, has complete control over all artifacts. I think he might have like, and this is me speculating. Don't take this to, don't take this in.
What
Like
do you
I'm
know,
just kind of,
Joseph, and when did you know
I'm
it?
kind of just, just kind of spitballing. But like if he had some kind of like Memnarch effect, at the beginning of, or until the end of the next turn, you pay X life or pay X, this, and artifacts can't that 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 are on the field can't be activated.
Hmm.
Just for or a Karn type effect or gain control of said artifacts or like an insurrection effect on him, where it's like okay, cool, pay X amount and then gain control of all artifacts, and they become creatures that are equal to their CMC, and then you swing out at everyone. So that would be some Magneto type stuff.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
He's got to have metalcraft, though, right? Some kind of metalcraft
Oh,
effect.
I think when he enters the battlefield, he just gives you Metalcraft. I think that's just, I mean, look, he's on Omega level mutant. I think Omega level mutants should
Yeah,
act like Omega level mutants.
sure.
So they should give you things that you don't normally get in a certain circumstance where it's like, oh, well, I need these things to happen. But it's like, he's like, no, I am the embodiment. I am the master of magnetism. You get Metalcraft.
Excellent. That sounds
you
like a
know?
pretty excellent magic card, and hopefully we'll see that maybe next year. Who knows? Who knows
Okay.
what's coming next for the Marvel Universes Beyond stuff? Unless you know. Do you know, Joseph?
I don't know anything. Even if
uh,
I did, I don't know anything.
Mr. Bevers is rating. Thank you
Hey,
so much, Mr. Bevers, bringing your
let's
friends
go.
here. We are having an AMA chat with Joseph Johnson here from Tabletop Jocks. Say hello, everybody. If you've got questions for Joseph, throw them into chat. Let's get some more of these chat questions. Triple Sevens comes here every single episode of What's Up and asks the very important question of what is your favorite sandwich?
Wow. I like cold sandwich or hot sandwich? That's a interesting question.
One of
I would
each.
say, all right, cold sandwich is gonna be there's a place called All About the Bread in here in LA. If you come to LA, come to All About the Bread. But it's like an Italian. It's like just the meats and maybe like some pepperoncinis, some mustard, uh, and a little sourdough, like yeah, little like provolone, just like very simple, nothing too crazy. And I guess hot sandwich will probably be a Philly cheesesteak.
All right, those are good choices.
Yeah,
Bio friend, thank you for the bits. Appreciate you. Crab Baskets has a similar question for you, Joseph. What is your favorite breakfast food?
bacon, hands down, bacon. But I'll elaborate even more. Like my favorite breakfast, like I love brunch. Like we live out in LA, we love brunch.
Yeah.
So like my favorite brunch like meal would be the Cheddar Bay biscuits from Red Lobster. You can get them at the store. Uh, put a little bacon inside of those. Make yourself a little bacon sandwich. Put a little cheddar cheese inside of those. Make
Uh
it
huh.
even better. Or substitute the bacon for sausage. Um, you have your little stuff, a little mimosa, and I'm not a huge egg fan, so like I'll maybe like do like an egg or two, but not like I don't want to do a whole scramble. And some breakfast potatoes, like some chopped, like or some chopped up, like a chop up a potato.
Mm-hmm.
Get some breakfast potatoes, season them up real good. Yeah, that's breakfast of champions, and it's also going to make you pass out by 3 o'clock because you've been drinking mimosas all day.
That sounds like a pretty nice Sunday to me. I could go for that. Let's see. Britnick94 says, Joseph, what has been the most difficult opponent you've had in MTG? Like, who has been a fun but tough slash talented opponent?
So the first time I met Cassius,
I kind of knew you were
He
gonna
and
say
I,
Cassius. I don't know why, but I kind of figured that based on his reputation.
he and I had a fun battle. It was insane. It was the pod was me, him, Posty. I forget who else. It was somebody who worked at WotC at the point. But that was the time that we met, and I remember playing a Azorius Shepherd or Allosaurus Shepherd, and he tried to counter it, and I was like, "You can't." Literally says it can't be countered. He looked at the card. He looked at me. He looks at the card. He's like, "You're a cheater," and I was like, "What? Like what?" Right, we had so much fun that game.
Hmm.
He called me a cheater like 10 more times as I was doing stuff with, and I was playing my Samet deck, and I was bouncing stuff back to my hand. It's like a creature based deck. And yeah, I mean, I know that if I sit down at a table with him and Posty and a couple of friends that I know that like, I got to bring the pain. I got to bring, I can't just come, half stepping. I can't even bring like a good deck. I have to bring a great deck. So it's the it's that pod. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that's the pod that's been the most challenging that I've been like, it's made me step my game up. It's made me like understand, interaction and like timing, the whole deal.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Cal Chris wants to know what is the most fun and memorable commander moment you've personally had that didn't directly involve a player ending the game?
Oh, interesting. Um, wow. I think there's so many moments like that. There's so many moments like that in our Discord. We just like forget that we're playing Magic. I think those are moments that I will say this. Um, in general, I've had a lot of moments like that where I forget that we're playing Magic and we're just having a good time and we're talking about life and we're sharing moments. And I think that to me is more of the gathering than anything. And I've had a lot of those moments. And I can like touch on so many of those different interactions. But that to me that's kind of why we do this, at least that's why I personally do this. I think that like I said, I've had so many moments like that where we just kind of forget that we're playing Magic and we kind of just like skip our turns and we just start talking and we just start, drinking and having shots or, whatever, or just talking about life or just talking about, what's going on in the world or just, there's so many different moments that I've had that I'm like, oh my God, like this is what brought us to this thing.
Hmm.
But you know, now we're in a different zone and the Magic brought us, but the Gathering is inviting us into uh, being a different thing. And I keep bringing that up because it's such an important aspect. I feel like, um, in this community, in this space, and what got me into it. Because I came into Magic I feel like later, or is nerdist type stuff. And I've always had like a sixth sense about it. And like, oh man, I really like that thing, but whatever. I'm just gonna go off and do this other thing. And then when I really like leaned into it and got into the community and got into people like, oh, y'all are cool as fuck. That was two. That was two. Uh,
Oh
we
no.
got we get we
You,
get two. We get two.
we get two.
Uh, I,
Two's
I
okay.
think I think, but it came later, so it's on YouTube. So it came later. Um, the name of a movie we won't talk about. And yeah, it's just it really just like warmed my heart to the people that especially like going to conventions and like I had never done that. Like I think I went to my first convention like 3 4 years ago. I went to Comic Con or no, I went to uh Star Wars Celebration. That was my first like
Nice.
convention, and I was like, and I remember being at so if you ever come to LA, there's a bar called the Star Wars Cantina and it's amazing. They have amazing people there. They're always awesome. But it's like the Star Wars Cantina. It's like do 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 do
Yep.
do. And it's just so cool. And it used to be it was a pop up, but now it's like a main thing. So like I go there every May the 5th or May the 4th. Um, and I was there and I was talking to some people and they were like, "You got to go to Star Wars Celebration." And I was like, "I don't know what that is at all." And they were just like, "Here, we'll look it up for you. It's going to be in LA." They pulled it up. Tickets were all sold out except for Sunday, and I was like, whatever. And so I went. I took my fiance. I dressed up like Finn. She dressed up like Rey, and we had a blast. We had so much fun. There was so many cool people there, and from there I met someone who invited me to Comic Con, and that was my first Comic Con. And then it just kind of like escalated from there, and yeah. So like I think like in the in person like meetups, those are the memories I'll cherish forever. I'm going on a tangent. I forget if I answered the question.
I don't even remember what the question was, but I'm digging it. We're vibing, dude. You're good. Let's see. Cheshire Cat. Getting back to something we talked about earlier about Commander being a casual format, asks any thoughts on the statement that was made that Commander is not a competitive format when there is literally hundreds of people traveling to tournaments on the weekends to play CEDH. The question sounds a little bit biased, but what are your thoughts on all that?
I mean, you make what of it what you want. I mean, yes, it is casual and to the sense of people who want to play casual, and it's competitive to the people who want to play competitive. There is literally a bracket for CDH.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the bracket that you live in, and you go and you try and mingle with people who don't play CEDH, you're gonna have a hard time because your mindset is different from the way people think. It's much like I said, I play fighting games for that reason. I can't go and play with my casual friends who play Tekken or Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat because I'm in the mindset of like, oh, I'm going to infinite combo you out because that's just where it is. So if you have that like knee-jerk reflex to have that competitive mindset, you have to go and do competitive things. So I have to go to tournaments. I have to go to Evo. I have to go to which I've been. I got wrecked, but I didn't practice. But I know if I practiced, I would have been there. But I mean, it's just like it's just in general. I think that it's whatever your mindset is and whatever the people that you come around. It is casual and it is also competitive. It's whatever you want it to be. You know.
Absolutely. We are running close to time here. I'm going to try and crank out a few more of these questions from chat real quick. Favorite comic book that's not DC or Marvel? That comes from Mishodem.
Oh. That is a really good question. Let me try to think. It's not DC or Marvel. That's all I can think about right now. I can give you my favorite anime. I don't know. This. I think the first thing that I was exposed to that wasn't DC or Marvel was Spawn, and I haven't read. I don't know any storylines. I mean, I guess that's Image. So it's like, is that DC? It's not DC, right?
No,
That's
it's
Image.
own thing.
Yeah, its own thing. I would say my favorite character from from another from not DC or Marvel is Spawn. I actually met Michael Jai White at the gym, and I remember looking over and seeing him and being like, oh, and it was like the time that he had just done Dark Knight, and I looked over and I was like, oh, that's Michael Jai White. And he sat down right next to me on the fly machine, and he remember he pulling the pin all the way down to the bottom. And I'm like, your arms are bigger than my head. Oh my God. And he just goes, "Gsh, gsh," and I'm like, and you know what? I was like, you know what? I gotta say something. I was like, man, loved you in Spawn. And he was like, what you know about Spawn? I was like, yep. All right, cool. And then he just goes right back
Good
into
talk.
his thing. And then he did Black Dynamite after that and was like one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. And yeah, so that would say I would say some rendition of Spawn.
Okay. Do you have time for a few more questions?
Yeah, of course, of course, of
Okay.
course, definitely.
Knickknacks wants to know what would be your favorite Universes Beyond product not already announced that you would like to see?
Tekken.
Tekken?
I love that. I love Tekken. Love it.
Right?
I can't get enough of. I'm a huge fan of fighting games. When they came out with Street Fighter, I was elated. I was also very upset because they didn't have. I wanted there to be like a full Street Fighter set. I'm missing Akuma. I'm missing M Bison. Missing Vega. I'm missing all these wonderful vast characters that I've grown up with over the years. Um, and I would say the other. Oh, it's a two-part answer. The other, I would say, Batman. I love Nightwing. I think he's one of my favorite characters of all time. I would love to have a Nightwing card. That would be dope. So yeah, Tekken and Batman.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent choices. Um, let's see. 777 wants to know if there's a deck you tried to build but didn't make work.
Oh, hmm. I think Winota. I think I just didn't do it right because I kept trying to figure out the combination of like the humans to non-humans, and I
Yeah.
just, without trying to look up a deck list and like copy it completely, I was just
Mhm.
like, I just don't get it, y'all.
Were you
I just,
trying aiming for CEDH with it?
yeah, yeah, it just didn't work out.
Okay.
I was like, well, whatever.
What percentage of your decks would you consider to be like CEDH or competitive?
Like percentage, probably like 2%. I have like I have decks that can hang, but I don't have a deck. If you were to ask me like, "Hey, we're doing CDH," I'd be like, I wouldn't. I don't have a CDH deck right on me, but I can bring decks that could like, okay, yeah, I can mess with it.
Okay.
Like I can figure out, what I can do, but like I don't have any like dedicated fives. I think more of my decks are like high power fours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Last question from chat here. Proxy Lab wants to know what has been your favorite acting role so far?
Ooh, stage or movie or film. That's interesting because
Up to
it's
you.
it's two it's two different answers. Um, Stage has been Iago. I played Iago in Othello, and that was by far the best time I've had on stage. I yeah, I remember it's just night after night. It's just being a different thing, and I read this interview or saw this interview with Denzel recently, and the guy asked him like, "Okay, yeah, how's it being, amongst the lead of the Hollywood actors?" He's like, "What do you mean Hollywood actors? Like, what does that mean?" And he kind of like referenced like he's like, "Well, I'm from blah blah blah. Does that make me a this and that actor?" And he's like, "Well, you're with the Hollywood elites and you're on set with all these big names and this and this." He's like, "No, well, here's the thing." He's like, "Being on set and filming is a director's medium. You get to do the thing based on the director's vision, but you don't get to act. They craft your performance. You can give the most breathtaking, like Oscar-winning speech, and they zoom in on your foot. That's it's a filmmaker's medium. When you go on stage, that's when you know you can roll with the punches because it's all on you. And once those lights come up and those curtains like fall out, it's like it's all on you. You got to make it happen. So yeah, that would say that was been my favorite role so far. But I really love Shakespeare, and I really want to play uh, Aaron the Moor and Titus Andronicus. So
Nice.
that's I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
I'm gonna make it happen.
Very cool. Is there a lot of Shakespeare happening in the LA area?
Nope. Like I said, I'm gonna have to either be the change you want to see. I'm gonna have to make it.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna do a quick lightning round of questions. Just a few should be super easy, simple questions for you, and then we'll call it a night. Um, if you're up for it,
Yeah, let's do it.
excellent. Favorite movie,
Oh, genre. Come on now, you can't hit me with that.
Joseph.
No,
Favorite
I can't.
movie. Pick your favorite
Get
child
out.
right now.
Get out.
Where should I? Oh, you mean the movie? Okay.
Yeah.
No, good choice. Excellent. Favorite musician or band?
There's so many. Prince.
Okay. Favorite video game?
Resident Evil.
The original or just the
Uh,
series in general?
the series in general, but specifically Resident Evil 2 remake.
Okay. Favorite food?
Oh, there's so many, but I lasagna,
Lasagna. Okay. Last thing you ate?
spaghetti,
Spaghetti. All right. You're all about that pasta. Favorite adult beverage?
tequila,
Tequila. Anything tequila? Or do you drink it neat?
tequila neat or tequila on the rocks. Prefer a tequila soda, but I could do a tequila tonic as well.
Okay. Do you have a favorite tequila?
Uh, Terramana is like a really nice Blanco, nice base tequila. It's the Rocks, actually the Rocks brand, called Dwayne Johnson. But if I want to like go a little higher, I love doing a shot of like 19 Don Julio, 1942. Someone, which I was at a bar one time and like I ordered that and someone scoffed. They're like, "Oh," I was like, "You're scoffing at the fact that I'm ordering this?" They're like, "Oh, this is let drink this. This is so much better." I'm like, "Okay, I guess I'll get this instead. I want this. I thought I
Yeah.
was ordering up."
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that the quality of Don Julio has a large range from like the bottom shelf to like their top high end stuff. You
Yeah.
could definitely get good stuff from them.
Yeah.
Um, Last question: favorite Pokemon?
Oh, without a doubt, Jolteon.
Josian. Okay, excellent. Thank you for all those answers. Joseph, thank you so much for being on the show. It was an absolute pleasure hanging out with you and asking you all these questions. Before we go, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you online, how they can support you, and any upcoming events that they can find you at?
Uh, well, thank first and foremost, thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast. I always love talking to the community, coming and hanging out. So thank you. And you can find me at Black Nito underscore at on Blue Sky, and I'm trying to think, and on I don't know what else I'm Black Nito on. Anyway, Tabletop Jocks on most things. And if you want to subscribe to the Patreon, that would be lovely. We have a Discord that we play. I personally play spell table games with my Discord every Thursday. Take out my whole day and just kind of hang out with my Discord. You can also there's Dragon Shield sleeves that I have. I have an artist that designs very amazing artwork. All of my artwork is anime inspired. So if that's your jam, go for it. Also, I will be presenting the Cookout Part 4 this June 13th and 14th. There'll be unlimited barbecue. There'll be drinks, food, good times. Uh, there'll be other games going on. It'll be right here in LA proper. But yeah, all the information is in my link tree. And I will be at MagicCon Vegas.
Excellent.
I'll be doing an event on Juneteenth with Beth from Community Cardboard. We're doing a charity event sponsoring Black Girls Code. So that'll be for Juneteenth. and then I will be doing a Dragon Shield event. Kurosuke and I will be doing a Final Fantasy what is it? Arch Enemy. So
Oh,
last back in Chicago, we did it with D&D. So we did like a D&D MTG crossover. And so we're thinking about doing the same thing. So like maybe like Cloud versus a bunch of enemies, or if I'm Sephiroth and you guys are all the, people from Final Fantasy 7, you can pick your deck like Red 13, Yuffie, Tifa, Cloud, the whole deal coming trying to come at me, and I have a DM screen and I'm kind of like narrating the whole thing. Which we did that last or back in Chicago. Went really well. And I believe I will be at Comic-Con San Diego, as well as Gen Con, as well as so many places.
you're gonna be busy.
Uh, as well as Atlanta Magic Con. So lots of fun stuff, lots of good times. If anyone's ever in LA and you want to meet up for some local games, I'm definitely down. Especially yourself, if you're ever in LA, holla
I
at your
hope
boy.
so. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I will be at MagicCon Vegas, so I hope I get a chance to meet you, maybe even play a
yeah.
game. We'll
Oh yeah.
definitely we'll try to make it happen. I dropped your link tree in the chat, so everybody in chat, go check that out. I am a Tabletop Jocks patron, and you should be too. Go check out Joseph, support him, and all the great things he's doing. I'm Andy Zupke. You can find me on Blue Sky at Zupkeep. That's Zupkeep. I'm getting a raid set up here for Emma Skyward. We're going to
Heyo.
send the love on over to her. We will be back next week, same time and place, with the incredible Tappy Toe Claus. So
Hey.
make sure you come hang out then because she's amazing. Everybody loves Tappy. Um, Take care, everyone, and tell Emma we said hi. Good night. Just waiting for this to refresh.